Welcome back to Kids Stories by MW. Oh my goodness, I am so incredibly excited you're hanging out with us today because we are about to go on a massive, mind-boggling adventure. In today's time-traveling explainer, we're going to explore the wild world of giant snakes. We'll discover real-life prehistoric monsters, magical creatures from ancient myths, and the heavyweight champions swimming in our rivers right now. So buckle up, time travelers, because this is going to be a fun one. Okay, before we blast off into the past, I want you to do me a quick favor. Close your eyes for a second and just picture this. What is literally as long as a giant yellow school bus, weighs as much as a car, and slithers through a super hot, muggy swamp? Now, if you're picturing a dinosaur, well, you're actually kind of close. But think, no legs. All right, keep that terrifying yet amazing image right there in your head as we kick off our journey. So here's our time-traveling map for today. We're starting way back, like 60 million years ago. Then we'll fast forward to 3,000 years ago to check out some ancient legends. And finally, we'll zoom right back to 0 years ago, which is present day, to meet the biggest snake out there right now. Let's go. All right, welcome to 60 million years ago. So, what's really wild is what scientists actually discovered down in a Colombian coal mine. They found the fossilized bones of a literal prehistoric monster. They named it Titanoboa, which basically means Titanic boa. And get this, back in those days, the Earth was much, much hotter. Since reptiles are cold-blooded, that crazy hot weather allowed them to grow to sizes that are honestly just hard to wrap your head around. Okay, so the absolutely crucial number you gotta remember here is 42. The Titanoboa grew up to a jaw-dropping 42 feet long. I mean, no way, right? Try to imagine pacing out 42 big steps all the way across your playground. That is just one single snake. To put that into perspective, if you parked a Titanoboa right next to your school bus, they'd be exactly the same length. And it wasn't just super long, it was incredibly heavy, weighing over 2,500 pounds. That's pretty much the weight of a small car. So yeah, imagine a snake the size of a school bus and as heavy as a car, just sliding its way through the jungle. Now you might be wondering, how did a giant like this actually catch its dinner? Well, it wasn't venomous, it didn't have poisonous fangs at all. Instead, kind of like a modern boa constrictor, it used its massive, super powerful muscles to squeeze its prey. It would hide in the murky swamp water and literally snatch giant prehistoric turtles and crocodiles right out of the water. Honestly, that is wild. Okay, time to jump back in our time machine and travel forward to the era of ancient human civilizations. Now, these folks obviously didn't have cameras or a fancy paleontology labs, but they had incredible imaginations. As they looked at the world around them, they dreamed up these spectacular mythologies featuring colossal snakes. To them, these giant snakes represented ultimate power, chaos, and sometimes even the end of the world. Just take a look at these legends. Over with the Vikings, we have Jormungandr, also known as the Midgard serpent. The Vikings believed the snake was so incredibly huge that it wrapped around the entire earth and actually bit its own tail. And right next to that, from ancient Greek mythology, is the terrifying Hydra, a seriously scary monster with multiple snake heads. But you know what makes these mythical snakes so much fun? Their crazy superpowers. In ancient Egypt, there was Apep, this giant snake god of chaos and shadow. And every single night, Apep would try to swallow the sun as the sun god Ra traveled through the sky. Every sunrise basically meant Ra won the battle. We just talked about Jormungandr wrapping the whole world, right? Well, legend said if he ever let go of his tail, the whole world would end. And the Greek Hydra? Oh man, if a brave hero managed to chop off one of its heads, 2 more would magically sprout right back in its place. But hey, it's really important to know that not all ancient cultures thought giant snakes were evil monsters. If we travel over to Hindu traditions, snakes are actually deeply respected. In these stories, giant snakes are called nagas, and they definitely aren't seen as chaotic beasts. Instead, they're celebrated as highly sacred, incredibly wise, and really powerful protectors. So, let's meet the magnificent Serpent Kings. First up is Shesha, the king of all serpents. He is this massive, majestic snake with 1,000 heads. He floats on an infinite cosmic ocean, and the great preserver god, Lord Vishnu, actually rests right on him. And then there's Vasuki, another legendary serpent king, who rests beautifully and safely around the neck of Lord Shiva, acting as a sacred protector. These nagas are honestly part of some of the most epic stories ever told. There's this famous legend where gods and demons actually had to work together. They needed a magical potion of immortality, but to get it, they had to churn an entire ocean made of milk. But seriously, how do you stir an ocean? Well, they used the giant serpent king Vasuki as a giant rope, literally wrapping him around a mountain to spin it. And remember Shesha with his 1,000 heads? Legend says he uses his many hoods to hold up all the planets in the entire universe. Talk about heavy lifting. Now, I will say, not all Nagas were perfectly well-behaved. Take Kalia here. He was a dangerous, multi-headed snake who decided to move into the Yamuna River. He was so toxic that he literally poisoned all the waters. But the young, heroic deity Krishna wasn't scared at all. Krishna famously leaped right into the river and danced on top of Kalia's many heads to defeat him. He spared Kalia's life, but only after the giant snake promised to leave peacefully. All right, my wonderful time travelers, it is time to step out of the world of myths and magic and come right back to the present day. Now, we know the Titanoboa went extinct millions of years ago, but there's actually still a giant king of the snakes slithering around on Earth right now. Get ready to meet the absolute biggest snake you could run into today. Introducing the green anaconda. I mean, just look at the sheer size of this creature compared to the people standing next to it. Found deep in the beautiful rainforests and rivers of South America, the green anaconda is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the modern snake world. These guys can weigh over 500 pounds and grow to be over 20 feet long. That is massive. So, when we look at our tail of the tape here, how does today's green anaconda actually match up against the ancient Titanoboa? Well, the anaconda is huge, topping 20 feet and 500 pounds. But our 60-million-year-old friend Titanoboa was double the length at 42 feet and a whopping 5 times heavier at 2,500 pounds. It really just goes to show you exactly how gigantic the prehistoric world really was. Now, even though it's a bit smaller than the Titanoboa, the green anaconda has some seriously amazing swamp survival skills. First off, check out its head. Its eyes and nostrils are perfectly placed right on top. This means the snake can stay almost completely hidden underwater, kind of like a submarine, while keeping an eye out for its dinner, which, by the way, could be a deer, a tapir, or even a caiman alligator. Second, like all snakes, they use their flicking, split tongues to actually smell the air, which helps them track down animals even in thick, dark mud. They are absolutely the ultimate modern hunters. So, from the giant fossilized bones of the Titanoboa hidden in a hot coal mine, to the magical, world-wrapping myths of the ancients, all the way to the real-life green anaconda swimming in South America right this second, giant snakes are absolutely fascinating. So, time travelers, I've got to leave you with this question. Which giant serpent is your absolute favorite? Was it the real-life prehistoric monster, the wise and magical Naga, or the modern heavyweight champion? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer here at Kids Stories by MW. Keep exploring, keep reading, and definitely stay curious. See you next time.